Alright, so I'm working with freshly washed and conditioned hair. Only two products I'm using today is the Amla oil and the Talie Wahi curl cream. I initially separate my hair into two sections just to get one of the sides out the way. And then I'm starting on my right section. I'm dividing that section into two, and I'm gonna put the top half in a mini bun. Now onto the important step. I'm taking the blow dryer and I'm putting it on the warm setting, and I want to really make sure I'm targeting the roots. These roots need to be super 100% dry in order for this style to come out completely fantastic. And then I can work on drying the rest of the hair shaft, and as long as it's like 80 to 90% dry, it's fine. Then I take a little bit of the curl cream and I put it in my hands, rub it all over, and run it through my hair. Honestly, I take a little bit because it is a thicker consistency, almost like edge control, but not as stiff and hard. If I had a different product, I probably would have been a little bit more generous. And then I separate my hair into three sections. If I feel a tangle, I'm just gonna gently pull it apart, but I'm really trying not to like completely finger detangle. The blow drying already stretched it out. And then I'm gonna take some amla oil and run that through my hair as well. And then I just braid it up. Really simple, really easy. Ta-da! And we have one braid. So now I'm just gonna repeat the process on the rest of my head until I have 4 braids on my head. I usually only do 2 on the left, 2 on the right. It's more than enough definition for me. If you want more definition, then add more braids. And if you want less definition, then, have fewer braids. Also, notice how I'm separating my hair very gently and I'm pulling it apart. But when I come to, let's say, a tangle in the middle, I pull the ball of like the knot downward and out. If you work through it gently, usually the tangles will unravel. But if you just go in there and try and pull it out or rake it out, you're definitely going to experience breakage. I did also want to mention that it doesn't matter which products you use. If you have a preference, you can go with that. I just chose to use the curl cream by Talie Wahi because that's what I had on hand. The products won't really make or break the braid out. It's more of the technique. But preferably, I do like to use a cream, or if I don't have a cream, a lightweight leave-in conditioner. Okay, I just finished blow drying, so I'm gonna take it down in the morning, and they should be 100% dry and stretched and beautiful and wavy and elongated and all the things. 2 on this side, 2 on this side. Good morning, it is the next day and I just got dressed, did my face a little bit. Now I'm gonna take down these braids so that I can reveal my perfect braid out. The key to having a perfect braid out every time is before you braid it, make sure it's like 90% dry already. Well, 80 to 90%. You can get away with 80, like it'll still be decent. But anything below 80%, and I wouldn't even chance 80, that's why I usually say like 90, like it's like, it's basically dry. But anything below 80, it's a wrap, it's a wrap, it's a wrap. You can usually feel the braids and tell before you undo them if it's gonna be good or not. This one feels dry, like super dry. This one's super dry. This one's super dry. This is the one I'm concerned about. It's dry down here. It feels like some percentage of precipitation up here, a little bit low-key, so fingers crossed. It kind of sounds excessive, like, girl, you don't know. I mean, I've been doing this for a while, like perfecting the braid out, so like I can definitely tell. It's kind of like muscle memory. Like the more you do it, you'll just be able to know. The reason why when you blow dry, you concentrate most of the heat at the roots and then down the rest of your hair is because usually, maybe it does depend on your porosity. I don't think it does though. But usually if your roots are dry, the rest of your hair will dry. But if your roots are not dry, but let's say like the length of your hair is dry, then when you braid it, all the water from the roots is just gonna go straight down the rest of the hair, and when you undo it, it won't be like fully dry. So that's a big key tip that I learned. If anything, like even if this part is 80, you want these roots dry. And it's not reversible where it's like you can have one but not the other. It's like you need both. Like the rest of your hair, the length of your hair needs to be like at least 80% dry, preferably 90. And the roots need to be dry, because if the roots are dry but this is like sopping wet, it's still not gonna come out the very next day. If you're going to air dry, you're gonna have to wait like another day or two maybe, and that probably does depend on your porosity and how much your hair holds on to moisture. Because me, I'm like low porosity, so if I did a braid out on sopping wet hair and just let it air dry, it would take like 2 business days before it's completely dry, and nobody has time for that. But those are the tips that work for me. Okay, and now the best part is I get to fluff it out a little bit. On day 1, I try not to separate it too much because it does get bigger as the day goes on, and then I usually just wear it out again for day 2. Or if it's super fluffy and not as defined anymore and I don't want to wear it out for day 2, I'll just wear it in like a ponytail or a bun. Start at closer to the root. Wherever it starts to just break apart naturally by itself, that's where I separate it. I try not to create separations forcefully. Like right here, there's no split, and if I just like make one, it'll just like be frizzy and like fluff. So like, but right here it just started to break off by itself, or like separate. Break off sounds like I'm breaking my hair off. Separate naturally. So I'm just gonna like continue with that division. If you just run your hands down the length of your hair like this, it'll usually start to have a gap, and then from there is where you can like kind of tell where you should separate it. There's not really a wrong way to do it, but if you over separate on day 1, you might not have enough definition to wear it for day 2. But that's like depending on how you like to wear your braid out. If you like it with just like a bunch of fluff and not a lot of definition, a lot of volume and body, then that's fine. You can separate it as much as you want. And then I take a comb last, and I just kind of pick the roots a bit. The more you move your hair, like the bigger it'll get. And then you can go in and pull the roots a bit like apart from each other, just a little bit, without disrupting the rest of the length of your hair and destroying all the definition you just worked for. I usually then take like the back 2 sides and I'll separate them and then lay them straight back across so that there's no parting line down the middle of my head anymore, like how there was when I braided it. I'm gonna stop because now I'm doing too much. It's starting to look spider webbish and not wavy. So here's the back. This is the back. And we're done. And it's like the perfect braid out every single time. Thanks guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy, give it a thumbs up. Like the video, that's the exact same thing. Subscribe to the channel if you already have not. Click the bell notification to be notified every time I upload a new video. And I'll see you.